Okay, guys, and this is Everybody Hate Chrissy on TikTok.
Okay, Wes is shaking again, and he's spilling what I do believe is 110% his truth. He's been spiraling out for the past couple weeks. Some I've reported on, some I have not reported on. But this, oh, I think that we have to talk about it. Let us read. Oh, baby, because one thing we're going to do is we're going to stay on this frame because we're going to read this tweet that Kanye West just tweeted out. And it's crazy because I can never keep up to whether or not he's banned on Twitter or not. But like I said, let us read. This song is called Cousin, about my cousin that is locked in jail for life for unaliving a pregnant lady a few years after I told him we wouldn't look at dirty magazines together anymore. Perhaps in my self centered mess, I felt it was my fault that I had showed him those dirty magazines when he was 6. And then we acted.
Okay, so basically, he has a cousin in jail. I guess the incestuous relationship started by them looking at dirty magazines. The cousin obviously turned out to be very violent, unalived a pregnant lady. I don't know the age gap here. So people are accusing Kanye West of being a PDF file, but he doesn't say anything about an age gap. He says he did this act on his cousin until he was 14 years old, but I don't know how old Kanye West was when he introduced the corn to his cousin. They could have been the same age, they could have been very close in age. So he didn't give that information out.
We acted out what we saw. My dad had Playboy magazines, but the magazines I found at the top of my mom's closet were different. My name is Ye, and I gave fellatio to my cousin until I was 14. Tweet sent. There's so much to unpack here, but let's start off with this new album. So his new album that he's going to be releasing this song on called Cousins is going to be on the album that he just changed the name to Cuck. According to AOL, they said AOL News, they said that the new album's name is going to be called Cuck. And for those who do not know what it is, I do believe that Kanye is referring to the second definition from Google, a man whose wife is actually unfaithful. Now, Kanye West allegedly has Bianca Censori and he solicits her out to other partners. I think that's the best professional way to say that. Just like Diddy. And that's why Diddy's also going to be on.
I'm going to say this: birds of a feather flock together. Okay. And at one point, Diddy, Kanye, and Jay-Z too. We're not gonna leave him out because we've all heard the alleged rumors of how he does Beyonce, about how he allegedly pimps her out. They were all cool. Y'all think they ran in that circle together for so long and they weren't engaging in a lot of the same activities? Yeah, Diddy might have been worse than Kanye, but don't think he wasn't out here doing weird stuff too. In terms of the corn, again, if you grew up in the 90s, I don't know. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Okay. And some of this is me kind of giving my testimony. It was not uncommon to have access to pornography. I think kids have access to it way more because they're getting these cell phones younger and younger. And I'll talk about that. I think it's leading to the denigration of society. But for example, I believe the first time I watched a corn video, I had to have been like 5 years old. And my stepdad put him in the same closet that all of our VH tapes were in, our VHS tapes were in. That's how old we are. I'm talking about VHSs, right? And there was no like label on them. I just remember popping it into the VCR and turning it on and just sitting and staring. And I was too young at the time. Like I don't remember watching those videos and being turned on by it, but I remember being interested in what was going on. We would go in my parents' room, my mom and my stepdad's room when they weren't there, and he had all kind of nasty magazines. And again, I just remember being interested, and I remember every day after school, almost just coming and looking at these videos. And sometimes my brothers would be there and we wouldn't be doing nothing. We would just be watching, like laughing, like what's going on here, you know? Um, but I don't think that was something that was uncommon, because I remember even when I was in the sixth grade, I had some friends that I would go over their house. Some boys, like they were not boyfriends, but boys that I was friends with. So if you're from Dallas, I would go to one of my male friends' house. He lived in Little Mexico Village, and this is the projects of Dallas, right? So they would be watching corn or had a corn tape in, and they would be like, "Oh, my dad gave this to me." And a lot of the times the fathers would give it to the son so that they wouldn't be gay. But I mean, we were in the sixth grade watching this, just sitting there watching it. Hold on, give me 1 second. But yes, I got bullied. I made it clear that I wouldn't be. Hold on, give me a minute. I gotta go back, Jamal. Okay, I think pedo behavior will slow down. Okay, I read that. But yes, I got bullied. I made it clear that I wouldn't be joining none of them gangs, but reserve my right to be involved in the streets if I had to, and jealous family members. So therefore, you do the math. Let me tell you something. I had a young man tell me, I knew this boy, right? And he used to like always be in trouble. This is like ankle monitor type kid, thug, Hispanic boy, you know? And he was on papers, all of that. Very respectful, very cool. But um I knew another young man that was openly gay, and he told me that one summer, I guess the Hispanic boy that was thuggish and ruggish was bored and broke up with his girlfriend and called the gay boy over so the gay boy could give him dome, and they just never spoke after that. And you would have never looked at this young man and thought that he would be into that. Every Gen X black man from Chicago is sexually twisted and pass the energy along. I believe that. You heard the rumors about Lil Durk, and that's another thing I was going to talk about. I feel like the rap industry is basically a boys club where all of these men get together and they sleep with each other behind closed doors, and they make music about, you know, the women, the bitches, the hoes, the money, the cars and clothes, and they make music glorifying treating women like shit, basically. Like that's a badge of honor, not falling in love with a woman, which to me that's weird behavior. But a lot of it be because behind closed doors they're sleeping with each other or they secretly want a man. I remember when that information came out on Lil Durk about Sydney Starr. A lot of people forgot about that. So if you don't know, Sydney Starr is a very popular transgender woman. Everybody knows Sydney Starr used to be a man, right? It's not a secret. And I remember when that tea came out that Lil Durk and Sydney Starr were messing together. Meanwhile, Lil Durk has how many baby mothers? I know it's more than three. I think he has 8 kids altogether. So he's over here repopulating the earth with all these baby mothers, but behind the scenes, allegedly messing with Sydney Starr. And where there's smoke, there's fire. Even with this whole Kanye West situation, I'm gonna talk about that. How Jeffree Star is, you know, kind of trying to put it out there that the whole situation between them that was rumored over a decade ago actually was true. I guess Jeffree Star was like, okay, well, since you putting your business out anyway, I might as well go ahead and admit to it. But usually, where there is smoke, there is fire. So you had a whole generation of men who liked men raising up this generation of boys to dislike women, to view women as the enemy, to view women as somebody that is to view women as unworthy of love. I had two kissing cousins when I was young, but today, decades later, we can tell each other everything and she's very entertaining. Okay. How obviously pimps her out. Queen B get your kitty twerking at a private show for Arab billionaires. Let me tell y'all something. As soon as you see celebrities run to Dubai, Dubai is Sodom and Gomorrah. I knew a few girls who would go to Dubai to make them a quick $50,000, but all money ain't good money because basically they would be being human porta potties. And these people have stupid money. You got to understand, Dubai has new money, right? These are new money Arabs that used to be farmers and things like that. And then they discovered there was oil underneath the land, right? So basically, you have a whole bunch of new money men who get off on seeing that their money can literally make another human being swallow their shit and swallow their urine and do whatever it is that they want. It's so perverted. It's so perverted. And you have so many women who are running over there and celebrities to go get that bag because a lot of the money in the United States has dried up. We all did. I loved Red Shoe Diaries on Friday nights on Showtime. Okay, you talking about the videos. You not that old, Mariah. I'm born in 83. Well, yeah, you got a decade on me. But it was still similar times. Cause I feel like before everybody started getting computers in their house, the culture wasn't moving as rapidly. I feel like things quickly started to progress in terms of a cultural shift after about 2004. But like time was moved a little bit slower. We have very a millennial born in 93 grew up very similarly to a millennial born in 83, 84, 85. You know, we have a lot of the same shared experiences, and they make love songs for their dead homies and be crying over them and everything. And you won't never see them cry over no woman. Don't forget about Dirk in the room with Diddy. Okay. Now, let me tell y'all something. Y'all know I love Central C. Love me some Central C. But as soon as I seen that Central C was at Mike Rubin's all white party with Lil Baby before his album dropped, I'm like, man, see, did you sell out? Because we already know Lil Baby sold out. We already know what goes down at them all white parties. We already know why Mike Rubin went and got Meek Mill at a jail. We already know that situation. And Meek and French, and it was blood on the sheets. Wow. Kanye was with Sydney Star first. I believe it. Dirk is a follower and loves who other prominent guys had, and that's why he got burnt. Again, you do the math. I saw a lot in the 80s and 90s. The 2000s was the nicest decade. Ew, Central C, they are, you think so? You think so? And that's why a lot of the times these men have problems emotionally connecting to women. I think there's a part of them that, they're men. I think there's a part of them that still likes the vajayjay, right? I think there's a part of them that would like to connect to the women, but then I think there's a part of them that feels shamed when they come around women, right? Imagine you got a girl that really likes you and she's put you on a pedestal, but you know every time that you come around her that you're carrying guilt and shame because you got touched on when you were younger. And let's be clear, it feel the same whether it's coming from a man or a woman. So a lot of them might feel shame that they might have enjoyed it even though they were kids. That's not their fault, right? And then the ones who still continue to do it because it's something that now it's become some type of perversion for them. I think a lot of the times they're afraid to connect with a woman, right? Because they carry that guilt and that shame. And then a part of them just might feel like it's just not right. And I know that sounds crazy because a woman might feel like, oh, well, they should just be out in the open or they should be honest with us. But at the end of the day, they're a man and they still want your approval, but they also might not feel right about going all in with you because they know that there's a part of them that still enjoys being with men. So they keep an emotional distance. I'm shocked. I figured you say you don't rock with Lil Baby for rocking with them. You're a first to say the opposite. What you mean? I mean, I kind of feel like with the whole Lil Baby situation, um, that's how he had to come up. I mean, there's just certain heights that you're not gonna reach in that industry unless you start sleeping with men. So I don't know. My whole thing is I don't rock with anybody who was messing with children. I don't rock with that. I don't rock with none of that. But I mean, I if he felt like that's what he needed to do to get on and he was willing to do that, I can't be upset with him. I'm gonna continue to play this video.
On this album, he made Cassie, mess with different workers, ex-workers, mess with different people in the industry, and they would all get a piece of her. And I do believe allegedly that Kanye is the same way with Bianca Censori, and that's why we're getting Cousins on the Cuck album. Now, another part that he just revealed a couple days ago was about his mother. He said that his mother was a lesbian and allegedly used to hook up with his babysitter. And interestingly enough, when you think about it, that's probably something that him and Jay-Z had in common. Jay-Z found out later in life that his mother's a lesbian and she's out of the closet with her white woman now. So let's continue to read the quote that Kanye said about his mother. You know that day when you hear her noises coming from your mom's room and you find out she's a lesbian and you're like, Mom, that's my babysitter. You're sleeping with the employee. See, I got it from you, Mom. Now, there's been some recent lawsuits, several lawsuits, dating all the way back to the 2010s.
I don't care what nobody say. And again, I respect the LGBTQ community. Um, I believe they should have the same rights as everybody else. But like, let's have a real conversation here. This kind of stuff confuses kids when they're young. Their minds can't process it. You like Central C more than Lil Baby? Yeah. I like I like Baby's old music more than I like his new music. And I think Central C's new music is better than the music that Baby puts out now, if that makes sense. These guys have some weird backgrounds. My mom would never before or after becoming saved. Yeah. Yeah. I I saw a lot. I saw a lot growing up. Even being in a heterosexual relationship, you gotta watch what you expose your child to when you're in the house. Like it could be very, very confusing.
Of Kanye always trying to solicit his employees for pleasure, inappropriate pleasure. So that's why he's saying, I see I got it from you, Mom. Because when these girls come out and say, hey, Kanye tried me, he wanted to mess with me, sometimes he'll tweet back that that's accurate. Tokyo Tony
I
has
didn't know
come
that.
out in the comments of that post and said Kim tried to help him. She cleared your debt. She loved you. Her mama got you the best doctors. You refused. This broke your marriage, and now the support system is gone. This is why he continues. Now, Tokyo, she has her own discretions, but I'm sure everything.
I wonder how much of this information that Kim knew. And that's another reason why I wanted to talk to this. My sisters, I want to free y'all from trying to save men who are in competition with you because they also like men. And that's not to talk bad about Kanye West. You're dealing with a conflicted soul. And I feel like the reason why Kanye would parade Amber around naked the way he did and make her wear stuff she didn't want to wear. And I feel like the reason why Kanye parades Bianca Sensory around the way he did is because he was living vicariously through them. He liked watching these men give all this attention to his wife because he secretly wished he could be in their position. It's kind of like the situation with Diddy in the voyeurism, where he would like to sit up and watch Cassie get smashed by these male workers. A lot of the times they're thinking about these men doing the same thing to them. So it's an opportunity to live vicariously through the woman. And yes, of course, they engage in these acts with these men too as men, but I think a part of them secretly wishes they were women, honestly and truly. That's why a lot of the times you'll see these type of men be very jealous and abusive towards women and try to dim their light because secretly they wish they had their spot. And it's very sad, especially like when it's a situation where this man got messed with young and it completely messes his psyche up. To me, there's no difference between that type of person and a trans person who feels like they were born in the wrong body. Then again, without TV, how would boys as men know how to make love to a woman? I was lame, so without R. Kelly and movies, I don't know how I would be so diligent about pleasing a woman. This is how you know. Here's the thing: men watching porn and watching movies, that is not a depiction of what women actually want. That is a depiction of what men want to do to women, honestly and truly. Like most of that stuff that's in corn, women don't actually really like. There's a reason why 80% of women have never even had the big O, right? That is not made for women's pleasure. I mean, even when I think about all the stuff that's just super degrading now in our society, right? Um, it's to the point where the stuff with the back door, it's too out of hand. But a lot of that came from men wanting to do that. Now, I have met women who were like, yeah, I enjoy doing it now. But a lot of the times, their first time that they did that, a man asked them to do that. That's not something that women just sit up and be like, I want to try just on our own, right? That's not something that, yeah, it's just, it ain't for us. So a lot of that, again, is what men feel like they should be doing to women, and that's why a lot of women are complaining about how it's not even good now more than ever. With the explosion of corn being so easily accessible, women are complaining now more than what I've ever heard them complain that these men don't know what they're doing at all. What's up, Sheba? Girl, I'm listening while I make dinner and you are so on it. Clock it. They want to be the woman. Yes. And you can't tell me, let's go back to Fresh and Fit. Now, I saw those old pictures of him laid up in the bed with those white boys in college. You cannot tell me that he does not want to get bent over. I'm sorry. It gives effeminate, it gives hater. Like men used to be more masculine. Like there's always going to be some conflict between men and women because our brains are wired differently. We have different goals and objectives, right, when dealing with each other. But men used to kind of have the attitude of, women can't live with them, can't live without them. Now there is like a visceral hate, right? And a lot of it is led again by men who are attracted to men having the loudest mics. You give the rappers a platform to tell men how they should feel about women and how they should treat women. And it's like, dog, you don't even like women like that. Or you like women, but you like men too, and you secretly feel a way toward the women. And I was saying this probably before you came on, Sheba. Working in high school was a real eye opener, and I genuinely feel like at least 65% of the young men today like messing with men, because I would hear and see so much. It would be boys that you would never, it would be star football players messing with the gay boys. It would be boys that like you would never even get that. I mean, you literally can't tell anymore. You don't know. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they start watching corn very young on their phones. And after a while, but that interaction between a man and a woman is starts getting boring. And then they just slowly graduate to just stuff that we probably don't even know they're watching, honestly and truly. Give me a second, y'all. I grew up wishing and identifying with women, white and black, and that made me love them and admire them more. I was a feminist male until 2015. Can you explain that? What do you mean, like you identified with them, Jamal Johnson? Like, did you ever have a feeling like you wanted to be a woman? Child, yes, he was cuddling with those men. The red pill manosphere guys like Fresh and Fit are definitely DL types. And you know what pisses me off the most about it? Um, when I was working in a high school, there would be boys who would never in their life need the red pill. I'm talking about young boys who were charismatic, young boys who, had their looks going for them, who would be walking around bitter at the young girls, and they would be quoting uh Andrew Tate and quoting Fresh and Fit. And it's like, sir, this doesn't, like, none of what they're saying would ever apply to you. Like, if you would just fix your attitude, you would have absolutely no problem with getting any girl you wanted to at this school. But like, you're walking around giving off weird vibes. So people are calling you crazy and saying that you're weird. 80% of women have never actually, yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, that 80% is wild. Yes, it's not enough after a while. I read an article that men with corn addiction get more and more extreme over time. Usually they end up into trans and then eventually kitty. Yeah, it's like a gateway drug. And there's a difference between a man who watches it every once in a while and like a man who is watching it every day. And sometimes you don't even know. Y'all, I'm going to tell y'all a story. So I have an ex. I have an ex. So I used to work at night, and I was with this ex for a long enough time to where, we lived together for, I don't want to give too many details because I don't want people in my life to be able to pinpoint which one it was, right? Because I don't have that many exes. I don't have that many serious boyfriends from my past, right? But I would go to work and like I did not find out until the end of our relationship that not only did he have a corn addiction, but he had what's called a scat fetish. What does that mean? He's into feces. Like, and when I say into feces, like for example, I remember he started just kind of acting weird. Like, I remember one morning I woke up and he was like, "Oh, you passed gas," and I was so embarrassed because I don't. First of all, I don't like the F word. That other word for pass gas. I don't like hearing it. I don't do that in front of people. Like, I'm just so particular about that, right? So I was extremely embarrassed. But then he was like, "Oh, well, it was cute." I was like, "Okay," and he was like, "I liked it." What do you mean? He's like, "It made me hard." What? So I now start asking questions, right? And he proceeds to tell me that you know smelling it, looking at it, touching it, anything like that turns him on. Like, he was seriously into it. And he told me that every night when I would go to work, he would be watching corn with that kind of content in it. And it's like, I sleep next to you. Like, I mean, yeah, I would be gone at night, but I would come back before the sun comes up. And it's like, I sleep next to you. I spend a lot of my time with you. And I would have never guessed that you are into that. And it just completely changed my perception of him. So much so that part of the reason why I didn't want to get back with him after we broke up was because I'm like, if you're into that, you're not too far off from being able to have some type of relationship with a man, because I don't know too many women who are going to indulge that type of fantasy, but you can easily find a gay man that is going to indulge in that. So my whole thing was, I'm like, no, I can't, because in the back of my mind I'm going to think that if you're not messing with men, you're going to go mess with men. I identified with their struggles and challenges. I love The Craft, Clueless, Mean Girls, and just be very sympathetic to female characters in movies. Picking female fighters in video games. Okay. So not necessarily that you wanted to be a woman, but you just more so like identified with what women were going through. Guys, thank y'all for coming in. Please, if you can, hop in the comments, be a part of this discussion, and hit the like. That helps people know that I'm on live. Girl, that's so scary. Young boys do not need to be listening to those incels and woman haters. Girl, yeah. When he admitted to me that he had that fetish, it honestly and truly, it it broke my trust in myself, because I was like, how did I not discern that something was off? But I'll be honest, even looking back, there were no signs. So it's so scary. There were no signs. And then y'all got to remember, I'm not the type to go through phones and things like that. So I never saw him watching that. But I remember when he told me, I was like, well, let me see some of the stuff that you watch. And like the little bit that he showed me was so disturbing, right? I just admired everything about them. Even working girls would get their pimps to go with them to get involved if guys are pew-pewing in front of the kids and make them stop. Child, I listened to Smeg's Worker podcast with women that make money off that fetish. Well, y'all know Odell Beckham Jr. got put on blast. And y'all know there was rumors about Odell and Justin Bieber. And that's what I'm saying. When men are into those type of fetishes, homosexuality is not too far off. Because whereas us ladies would be more like, ew, gross, disturbed by that type of behavior, these men, they feel like, well, feces just comes with backdoor action. And yeah, you have some really clean gay men who douche back there and all that, but that's not the majority. Most of these men don't even wipe their ass properly. Hey, intelligent hood genius. Good to see you, brother. What's more, I just clicked in the live, but based off of the title, I'ma sit this one out, boss. LOL. I definitely got to hop back off the live. LOL. Kanye West, I'ma still bump first 3 albums though. I mean, this definitely doesn't take away from him as an artist. And again, like, I'm not trying to shame Kanye West for coming out and speaking his truth. I feel like we don't know the whole story. I'm glad he's talking about it, because this is something that women have speculated for years, that a lot of these men are dealing with issues with their sexuality, and that's why they behave the way that they do towards women. So we need more men to come out and loudly proclaim that these things started happening when they were kids, because it completely affects the way that they interact with women. I think men, when it comes to being violated or being introduced to that type of stuff so young, I don't think they have the same bounce back that women do. Like, it even affects a lot of women in a negative way, because you'll see some women who are very promiscuous, or you'll see women who kind of go into protectionist mode and they don't want to deal with men at all, or they gain weight so that they won't be as attractive. Like, so women already kind of don't deal with this in a good way. But like, again, like, men are so much more emotionally fragile than us. So I feel like you could take how we feel and multiply that at least by 3. Exactly. It would make me think he is bi. Yeah, I mean, and again, people are calling him a PDF file because he said he did it until he was 14. But and then he said he introduced his cousin to it when his cousin was 6. But like, that doesn't necessarily mean that Kanye was a PDF file. He said he did it up until he was 14. Kanye might have been 8 and the boy might have been 6, and they're close in age. They might have been the same age, and they just continued this for years, and he stopped when he was 14. We don't have enough information, is what I'm saying. I also want to talk about the fact that the cousin is in prison because he unalived a pregnant woman. And that goes back to the conversation that I was having earlier about how a lot of the times this violence that these men have towards women, this anger, this hatred, is a manifestation of those feelings that they have not dealt with from being introduced with dealing with men at such a young age, from already feeling emasculated, from having a fragile male ego. And when I say fragile male ego, I don't mean all men have a fragile male ego. I'm saying if you got violated as a man as a child, you dealing with an ego that's much more fragile than a man who didn't get violated as a child. That's what I mean by that. So it's like you're already dealing with all of these conflicting emotions. And then on top of that, dealing with maybe feeling guilty about you liking what happened to you, maybe still dealing with men. And then you get to see women, us women, we get to live our truth. We get to live free and in the open. Even if a woman is a lesbian or bisexual, she doesn't get the same scrutiny as a gay man or a bi man does. And these are double standards that are hardwired